Okay, so hello everybody. Today I have the amazing Sairee Chahal with me today, who has had a remarkable journey as the founder and CEO of Sheroes, a women-only social networking platform. And can you give the audience a little introduction?
All right. So, hi everyone. My name is Sairee Chahal, and I am what you call a serial entrepreneur. I've been building businesses ever since I was 20, 21 years of age, and I got to see, the evolution of internet in India. I run a company called Shiros today, which is a company committed to helping women succeed. When women come to us, they find a community that supports them. They're able to find work, resources. They're able to become entrepreneurs, and this year I started another company called Mylar Money, which is a digital bank for women. It's called a neobank for women. And so everything I do is around making sure women succeed. And of course, we use a lot of technology and internet to make that happen.
Yeah, amazing. So, the first question I'd like to ask you today is what inspired you to create Sheroes to build this platform?
Well, I think so. First of all, I think technology is great. You know, we all are little technology buffs. We are on our phones and on our devices, and everything is powered by technology, right? So, and of course, internet. And I think, we know in India, women are kind of they're bound at home. Most women we know are homebound, and uh, the world kind of becomes smaller. So I've always felt that when you get connected and when you have networks, you know opportunities open up and you become more confident and you want to you know try out new things. So we took that thought process and created Shiros. So a lot of women who come to Shiros are women who are possibly not using internet like you and me. They really are what we call first time internet users, and they are here to sort of see what can happen, what magical can happen. Can they make use of a talent they have? Can they put their art out there? Can they write? Can they build a business? Can they find support? So we're building an ecosystem for them, and that's sort of really came from my own journey. I grew up in small town India, and I think, look around. I think most women have so much potential, but don't have that opportunity or don't have that platform. So we wanted to build that platform for them.
Yeah, that's like a really interesting way to, build it on on like the thought process of the average person. Yeah. So, can you tell us about can you tell the audience and me about your journey in becoming an entrepreneur and what led you to creating Shiros? Like how being an entrepreneur, really, sort of sets off Myla Money and Shiros.
Absolutely. So I think I got introduced to entrepreneurship very early. I didn't even know this is called entrepreneurship. This is called startups. Uh, but I was still in college when I built my first startup, and I think it was a very intense journey of building a company. Like I was at work for 400 days at a stretch. I didn't get a day off. I mean, you're building your own startup, so you sort of like work really hard. So, and I learned a lot of things there. I learned how to build products. I learned how to hire. But the thing that became so clear to me was, here is how you solve hard problems. And here is a way uh, to to create something magical. And I think that was always something that I took away with me, even after the company got acquired. And then I went and worked briefly with with CII, and I worked with consulting companies. I wanted to see what it is like to work in the corporate world. But this idea was always in my head that let's create something. And then of course I think as my journey as a woman helped, um, I clearly saw a lot of my peers are having a hard time keeping up with their careers. A lot of women I know have so much of potential but don't have that opportunity. I grew up in a place called Muzaffarnagar, which is really back or beyond in terms of, like, I think especially for women. And like I always wondered what can we do, and Shiru's really uh, was our way of uh, accelerating this, of making things happen faster. So there are many ways to solve a problem, right? You can work with the government, you can create a policy, you can start a not for profit, or you could build a platform. right? And some great companies are built on platforms, right? Airbnb or Uber or um, Apple or Microsoft or uh, GitLab, or there's so many amazing companies that are platform companies. They basically uh, put together something that their users find valuable and can come back again and again for that.
Yeah, that's an amazing journey, and how you overcome so much, work at a time, and how, the thought like keeps you going. That's like amazing. And how do you see Shiro's impacting young entrepreneurs in India?
Actually, we have by default become a company that's very centered around entrepreneurship. I think two things are happening. The world of entrepreneurship is growing very, very fast. We all have become entrepreneurs, right? So anybody who has access to a phone and payments is now an entrepreneur. We can set up shop, we can start selling, we can create content. So we've seen a lot of that play on Shiros as well. And a lot of women who come to Shiros are also women who are saying, how do I learn more? How do I earn more? How do I support my mental health? uh, how do I keep up with what's happening in the world? So we're doing a lot of that bit by by virtue of the community we've created. So when women come to us, they are able to plug into a lot of things all at once. This is their Swiss knife equivalent of earn and learn. And of course, we do a lot of work around making sure our ecosystem is robust. We do for example, we run a helpline. It's a counseling helpline that's for free. So a lot of women use it, to talk about things that are on their mind. A lot of young women come and share things that are sort of bothering them. We're like a listening service. So they come and talk about whether it is relationships or careers or parents or whatever is sort of is on their mind. And that makes it like makes them trust everything we do a lot more. And then of course we run some amazing programs around entrepreneurship. We're running a accelerator to support 1 million women entrepreneurs this year. So there's a lot of opportunity, and this is all free. So we put out a lot of resources which are built for the community. It's for common good. So it goes to them, and then they go on from there.
Mhm. Yeah, and like the fact that the platform like offers so much in, so much to like so many different things for each user. Like yeah, so and what would your advice be to young women entrepreneurs, since you've already since you are an entrepreneur and you've been so successful?
Well, I think entrepreneurship is all about creation, and you don't have to fit into a mold. You can be anyone, anywhere, any age, and you can be an entrepreneur. So, and I think it's the spirit of entrepreneurship that matters. But of course, I think we're in such an interesting time to be an entrepreneur. This is such a good time. Everything is opening up, and there are so many problems to solve. And you can get started, literally in 1 hour. Like you have an idea, you can take it. You can start working on it literally in an hour today, and I think that's great. But the other thing is, if you really stumble upon an idea that's worth pursuing, and you're passionate about it, then be persistent. All good things take time. So does entrepreneurship. So great things are built when people are persistent at it. But at the same time, I think you have to be open and honest about you know whether you care about something. And if you don't, then it's fair enough to say this is not worth pursuing, I'm going to move on. So I think personal honesty matters in entrepreneurship a lot. And second is hustle, and like giving it your best shot. Like do whatever you can do, and like run hard and fast. Yeah, and it's fun, and there's so many people who help you along the way. That's how I got here. A lot of people
Yeah,
helped me.
what like amazing advice. And can you tell the audience just a bit about like a brief overview about Mahila Money, and why, according to you, it's important for women to be financially independent?
Absolutely. So we looked at some data. I mean, we've been working with women, so we know, but we also looked at some government data. Basically, out of all the credit in this country, loans and financial products, women just get 10% of it. Okay. In spite of us being such a large country with, we are 500 million women in this country, right? So we know that women are underserved. And then we also found out why are they underserved. So they are underserved because they don't want to go to a bank and talk to a manager. They don't want to uh, they don't want to have this conversation with their husbands where he will have to stand guarantee for something they want to do. They don't want to get the family involved. They want to do it on their own steam. And we found that financial institutions are not built for that. So we are building now Mahila Money as a neobank for women. What that means, it's a digital only bank, and it's serving the needs that are very specific to women and very specific to women entrepreneurs, especially small business owners and women who run small businesses. For example, if you have ever watched English Winglish, the movie in which Sridevi makes laddus and she's learning English. So it's very popular movie in India. But here's a housewife who goes to America and then she has to learn English. But uh, she also runs a small business that's very, like, nobody thinks of her business, or that it's important enough. She's invisible, but she has a real business. She makes money, she does deliveries, she has customers, but nobody's supporting her. So we're building Mahila Money to support a lot of women who run a business. They want to grow their business, and they need capital, they need credit, they need money to make that happen. But we're also building products that help women increase their financial coverage. For example, most women don't have enough insurance or health insurance, or like there's not enough health insurance for women. Women's issues, whether it's PCOD or thyroid or menstrual health. So we're building products that are very, very women specific, and we're also building a bank that belongs to women and their dreams.
Yeah, that's amazing. And just out of like, just as out of curiosity, what exactly, like, according to you, does gender equality mean? Like, just to treat both the male and female community as one, or just like they're equal? What does it
Absolutely.
mean?
Uh, yeah, I think gender is a social construct, right? Like when nature made us, nature didn't make us, nature didn't give us a ranking, right? It didn't say, you're more capable and you're less capable, or you have more opportunity. I think these things are all made by humans, right? So they should also be questioned and destroyed by humans. And the truth is, potential can come from anywhere, talent can come from anywhere, and we all know there is so much of gender bias in our society, in our families, and in so many, it comes across in so many ways, but it clearly shows in the numbers, right? So I think it's very important to challenge these norms, and I'm glad these norms are being challenged now. Like I think I think the younger generation is very gender. Uh, they're very aware, right? So I have a daughter. She's 14, and she talks about it very, very vocally, and she knows that everyone should be equal, right? And I think access should really come from your talent and your hustle, and how far are you willing to go, and not from your gender or your color, or where you were born, right? These are all human barriers. So I think it's important to sort of think about this. Equality is uh, it's a very complex subject, but it's simple at the same time, right? It's treating every person the way you would like to be treated.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. It's so wrong to, single out a person and say that you're not as good as us for reasons that they can't even control. And, that just doesn't even, that makes them, that this, we're still equal. We're all equal, actually. Yeah, so I completely agree with you. And lastly, since my project focuses on young girls growing up in rural India, what message would you have specifically for them?
Well, I do want to tell you, I grew up in rural India, sort of. I grew up in a village called Nara. The plant where my dad used to work was there. And I think the thing is, uh, the world's really opening up, so it doesn't matter where you are now. And the pandemics made the world even more flatter. We're all just behind our screens. uh, so I think invest in yourself, I would say. Wherever you are, if you're a young person, uh, like, invest in yourself. Get get support. We are all here because somebody supported us. And there's so many ways to support, and there's so many amazing organizations doing amazing work. So go out and put yourself out there. And third, never be afraid. Don't let fear rule you. You know, fear makes us do terrible things. Act out of courage. Don't act out of fear.
Yeah, that's really some really valuable words of advice. And thank you so much for being here and taking out the time for this interview. It's been an amazing interview, and I've really enjoyed it. And I'm pretty sure the viewers will agree.
Likewise, I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed talking to you. You're awesome.
Thank you so